This is why manifestation hasn't been working for you, or at least that's how you're perceiving it, and how to change it. Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you are all doing fabulous. I hope you are all choosing to be the versions of yourself that have exactly what you want. Perfect timing. I'm going to skip through my typical intro today just to get this out. Because I got a zhuzh, I got a buzz on my mind. We're hearing all sorts of sounds today. So, for any way to connect with me, to work with me, to whatever with me, it's in the drop box below. All that info, drop box below. Where else to find me? Drop box below. Okay? Okay, good. Now, let's jump into it. Today, we're going to talk about when manifestation seemingly isn't working for you and how to fix it. And let me just, state the obvious one, because you are claiming that it isn't working for you. There's one of the reasons why it's probably not. Although it actually is working for you. It's just manifesting from the shit state that you're currently embodying. That's all. So it's still technically working. Okay? So that's the most obvious answer. So we've got that one. Let's move on to the next. Sometimes we start a journey. We pick a technique that we enjoy. We do our little manifestation game in the morning, maybe at night. It really doesn't matter. But you do your techniques. We'll talk about affirmations. You say your affirmations, and then you go on for the rest of your day. So reality hasn't changed from your perspective. Let's say you're manifesting for your specific person and you're looking out in your reality after doing your manifestation game, your technique, and nothing's changing. SP still isn't showing up, choosing you and only you. So you then decide, this isn't working. My affirmations aren't working. Well, this is one of those moments where I have said before that authenticity is key to manifesting. That is you being honest with yourself. And again, you don't have to share it in the comments. You don't have to tell me anything about yourself. But you want to be real with yourself. So let's just say that you have a set of, we'll say 10 affirmations that you say every single morning for your manifestation game, right? You're manifesting your specific person. You say your 10 affirmations and then you head on out, go to work, go to school, and living your life, your current life, okay? So let's keep it real. You said your 10 affirmations in the morning, right? This is an example. And then the rest of the day, where was your mind? How many opposite or opposing affirmations were you really affirming the rest of your day? You see, being aware of who you are choosing to be, being aware of who you're being is important. You see, our mind is always having inner conversations, inner chatter. Okay. I know we hear that phrase, inner conversations, and we automatically go to the place that it's an inner conversation with your specific person. No, you're having inner convos all day long. And what you're doing with that inner conversation, the inner chatter, the mind is moving all day. You're talking with yourself. You're talking with your higher self. You're talking to God. You're talking to the universe. You're talking to people you're pissed off at. You're talking, chatter, chatter, chatter. And when you're manifesting something specifically and you're not seeing changes in the 3D, and we already know that, okay, you're identifying as it's not working, so therefore it's not working in 3D. But your inner chatter is also affirming all day long that specific person hasn't changed. Reality hasn't changed. I'm afraid, love is not meant for me. Maybe I'm going to be alone my whole life. All the things that our mind goes through all day long. Replaying an argument you had with your specific person. Replaying the moment they told you that they don't want the relationship. The moment they told you, hey, I'm dating somebody else now. All the things. And even if, listen, I'm aware sometimes those moments are painful. And our mind has a tendency to bring up those moments to remind us of their existence. I get that. That's why it's never your fault what thoughts come in your mind. But the what you do with them is where it matters. And for most of us, your affirmations are absolutely perfect. They're wonderful. But you just choose to go back to your old self the remainder of your day. Be honest with yourself. Right before this video, what were you really thinking about you and your specific person? Maybe you're manifesting money. Maybe you did your 10 money affirmations first thing this morning. What did you think about money the rest of the day? Were you identifying with whatever's in your bank account? Were you identifying with whatever bills are coming in? Bills you're dreading? Your old beliefs about money? Who is more dominant? Your old self, the version of you that doesn't have what you want? Or your decision to be your new self, the self that has the manifestation? I cannot say this enough. Manifestation works, and it works flawlessly. But when our mind goes into limited, logical, literal thinking, and we choose to believe that more because we're conditioned to believe in the logical experience in the 3D, because of that conditioning, that is one of the habits we're breaking as conscious manifestors, is not always believing exactly what we're seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, experiencing. This is why Neville Goddard said, deny your senses. You don't have to accept, per se, what you're experiencing in the 3D as final, right? I'm not saying you got to put blinders on while interacting with 3D. I'm saying being aware that if you don't see what you want in the 3D, that is not an indicator that you're not going to experience change or experience your desire. But who is more dominant? The manifesting game version of yourself or your old self? Be authentic to yourself. Most of you let your mind run amok all day long and then get frustrated because nothing's changing in the 3D. And I realize I just put a video up about this yesterday, but I think this needs to be hammered home. Who are you all day long? Who do you really identify as all day long? The version of you that's still single and is afraid that you're never going to have your manifestation? Or even that you are aware that, well, I'm the version of me that's currently manifesting my specific person. That's who I am. So I'm in search of the latest technique. Some of us are stuck in searching for the magical technique video. Some of us are in search of that. Yesterday's video touched on that. That when we see success stories, we want to ask that person a million questions. What did they do? What did they do so I can copy it? Because I must be doing something wrong since I don't see what I want in my 3D. So what magical affirmation did that success story person use? Don't get me wrong. The innocence of, I'd like to see what they did. I'd like to have an idea. Maybe I'm not doing everything right, even though I think I should be telling myself that I'm doing everything right. But I'm interested in hearing what they say, but without getting caught up in the cycle of begging them for an answer and assuming they've got the magical touch and that's how they manifested their person. More than likely, listen, it ain't the technique. It's never the technique. Techniques only help you step into new self. Techniques are used to convince you, not convincing the universe, not convincing God, you. Right? There's nothing outside of you that needs to be convinced. It's you. And I really want to preface, it's not a big deal that you want to know what someone did in a success story. But when you're searching for that, because you know you're identifying as always doing things wrong, or you're identifying as the you that doesn't have what you want, and the 3D isn't working, so you are in constant, I'm searching for the next newest thing. Who are you identifying as in that moment? The only thing required to manifest is that you identify as the version of yourself that has whatever it is you're manifesting. That's it. That's all you need to do. There's not one magical technique that can get you there. It's literally just a conscious decision. For example, say you are the version of yourself that likes to say your 10 affirmations in the morning. It's the conscious thought that when I say these affirmations, I am consciously becoming the version of myself that will have the SP, or the relationship with the SP, or the money, or the appearance change, or the healthy body. It's you becoming aware of being the self that has. That's it. All techniques can lead you there. But if you're still thinking there's another magical technique to be learned, then that's who you're identifying as. Nothing wrong with watching manifestation content per se, especially if you're only watching it just to have a zhuzh. I see nothing wrong with that. I did that too. But who you are all day long certainly applies to this. Techniques work, but it's not the technique in itself that's working. It's because you are consciously deciding something new for yourself. That's really the magic with techniques. Your conscious decision. You're consciously allowing 3D to unfold and you to change. That's manifestation. Some of us have the fear of the unknown. And because your inner chatter is more focused on the fear of the unknown, the fear of what if this never manifests? What if I'm wasting my years manifesting this specific person and it never happens? Now what? Some of us are so used to that identity that that's where we are the rest of our day. The fear of the unknown. You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. You weren't really sure if you were going to wake up today. So we have nothing to be afraid of. We have nothing to question. We need to make a conscious decision that we are the version of ourselves that has what we want, period. And when we are aware that our mind is spinning in the inner chatter of, I'm afraid this won't manifest, we need to stop ourselves in those moments and say, whoa, 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 whoa. No, I'm going to do something different here today. I'm not going to believe that thought. My body might be responding out of fear still in this moment, but I'm not choosing that. I'm choosing to be the version of me that has my manifestation. I have nothing to fear. I'm going to do something different today. I'm not going to let my mind have the inner chatter all day long about how annoyed or hurt I am with a specific person. Or if you're manifesting new love, I'm not going to listen to the inner chatter today that maybe I'm just meant to be single. No, that is not a truth. There are no meant to be's. That's fear talking. I'm not listening to that today. Today, I do something different. Today, I'm going to be the change. Being the change is what changes reality. not your affirmations, not your techniques. You consciously choosing. Your reality is always fulfillment of who you believe you are in that moment as you are perceiving reality. Let me kim that down even more. However you think reality looks in the 3D in this moment as I'm talking to you. So if you're the version of yourself that right now in this moment is perceiving reality, I don't have what I want yet. I'm not the version of self who has it. I'm seeing reality as it's not here yet. That's who you believe you are in this moment. Because you wouldn't be able to perceive it if you weren't that self. Now, my suggestion is to look at reality and see, I can accept that I don't physically see with my 3D eyeballs what I'm manifesting. But I know, because I'm intending to be the version of myself that has what I'm manifesting, I know that whatever I'm experiencing out here in 3D, whatever I'm seeing in 3D right now in this moment, is somehow, some way, a part of me getting my manifestation. It's the unfolding to it. I have nothing to worry about. Do you hear the difference in the definitions? The difference in the perception? That's two different versions of selves. Manifestation is not really like a magic spell that you're going to say your 10 affirmations and be done for the day. No, manifestation is being aware of where my mind is going throughout my day. I don't mean trying to strive for perfection. I don't mean that you have to overwhelm yourself by, I must be in constant awareness. No, nothing from fear. But if you're catching yourself having inner chatter that is opposing what you're manifesting, it's having the discipline to say, I'm not going to continue that inner chatter. I'm not continuing that inner conversation today. Not doing it. We're doing something different because I want to be the change so I can have what I want. I'm not going to allow my mind to run amok. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to believe that when I do my manifestation techniques, that I am my new self. I'm going to consciously choose that today. I'm taking authority over my mind because it is the conscious mind that rules the subconscious mind. Really think about that. The conscious mind rules the subconscious. Your inner chatter, what is going on in your conscious mind, the thoughts you're hearing and listening to, they rule the subconscious. So the thoughts that you're believing, the thoughts that you're choosing, that's the instructions we're giving to the subconscious mind. This is why we make a damn decision. We make it with conviction. In a sense, it's a refusal to be your old self. Those of you who believe that it's not working for you, nothing's changing, and the fear of never getting what you want, you are probably not aware of the inner chatter that's going on in your mind all day long. And that's got to be the something you're choosing to change. For you sciencey people, our mind and body is always trying to bring us back to, what was that word? I just want to say center, homeostasis. Our mind is always wanting to bring us back to that. Our body is functioning to bring us back to that. What is natural and normal for us. Unfortunately, for most of us, we start this manifestation journey, this great awakening, from having a normal, a homeostasis of a victim state. discomfort, dis-ease. Some of us, a lot of us, start there. So our natural, normal homeostasis place is life doesn't give me what I want. Life sucks. Life is difficult. Money's hard to come by. Don't get your hopes up because it's probably not going to happen. Love is hard. You just don't get the guy or the girl that you really want. You only get the guy or girl that you really don't want. Those are the only ones interested in you. Relationships are hard. Relationships don't last. It's better to expect the worst so you're protected. For most of us, that was our normal. Seeing the negative in people and in circumstances first. Now remember what I've said before. Thoughts are only ever based in love or fear. Most of us fear that victim state is our normal. That's our homeostasis. You are defining what your new normal is, what the new homeostasis is. Our body functioning at 100% perfection, identifying as our body is running at 100% healthy and perfect. Every single cell, healthy and perfect. That's my new homeostasis. My mind is always thinking of the infinite possibilities. My mind, my new normal is I get what I want. Life just happens to always lead me to getting exactly what I want. That's our new normal, our new homeostasis. And just because in this moment, as you're watching this video, maybe you have more experience in not getting what you want. Who cares? That was your old normal. That was your old self. Stop dwelling in the shitty past that you are allowing to dictate your damn future. If linear time were a real thing, just saying. Stop. When those old memories come up from the past experiences, screw them. We know that they were the manifestations of old self. They are nothing. They are nothing. And don't get me wrong, I know everyone has probably had at some point in their life something painful, something traumatic, and I'm not saying that they don't matter, but they don't matter. As in, I'm not trying to tell you just to get over it. It's not important. Our feelings are always valid, but I'm saying you don't have to let them control you anymore. You don't have to let past experiences dictate what is allowed for you in the future. You don't have to do that anymore if you don't want to. If you want to be free from that, guess what? You already have the authority of the I am within you. Right now, you've always had it there. You just weren't aware of it. By the authority of that I am, you can be, do, and have whatever you want. The past doesn't have to mean shit. It doesn't. So free yourself. Stop letting experiences of old tell you who you are. They are nothing but who you were. Time for a new decision. Time for a new normal. Time for a new homeostasis. Don't get stuck in logical reasoning. Listen, I know, especially if you're new, it can be difficult to trust, to allow yourself to jump all in on trusting manifestation. I get it. For those of you who are having an issue with that, let me present something to you. First, the obvious. Take a look at your life. Is it a reflection of where your mind has been throughout the course of your life? The answer is going to be yes if you're answering authentically. Let me present something else. I don't dislike the medical community or the science community. I work with several people in those communities. Okay? So I don't hate or dislike. I just don't think we have to be limited by their decisions, their knowledge, their facts. So let me just say this. I'm not trying to tell you to stop going to a doctor. I'm not telling you that. I'm saying if you're hearing something out here that you don't agree with, then decide it's not true for you anymore. Make a new decision. See what I'm saying? Maybe you've been told that you have an incurable disease. Well, maybe that's not true for you. Maybe you're going to join in on the version of yourself that no longer has that disease. And maybe you are struggling with the logic of that. Maybe that disease is causing you pain in this moment. I understand. You don't have to pretend you're not feeling the pain. But you can still choose that you are becoming the you that is free from pain. And it's getting easier and easier. You keep affirming that to yourself, eventually, that's what's going to happen. So keep going. Don't give in. Don't give in to the doubt. That's the trap, is believing the fears. But let me present something else. This came up in a coaching conversation, so I wanted to give credit to that person, but I think they want their name anonymous. So this goes to the person, okay? Because the person, I am someone that likes to give credit where credit is due. This came from that person, okay? My coaching client. It wasn't my bright idea, but as soon as it was delivered, I'm like, that's a video. So let me just say this. Throughout the course of your life, I'll use two of my favorite examples. You know, astronomy was my favorite subject in science because I didn't like science class. That was the only time I got good grades to pull up the rest of my shitty grades because everything else bored me to tears, okay? I liked astronomy. I like constellations. I like stuff in space. So as a child in school, I learned that Pluto was a planet. Pluto was a planet. Science said so. That was the fact that we learned in science class. Pluto is one of the planets. So I had to memorize that for a test, right? Now fast forward many years. Science changed their mind. Okay, science said, nope, Pluto's not a planet anymore. And actually, as I'm recording this video, I can't remember. Did they change their minds back? Is it Pluto a planet again? I don't know. The point is they changed their mind. Okay. Back in the 90s, I discovered the Atkins diet. It was that low carb, high protein diet. The medical community at that time was saying, no, 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 no. That's dangerous. You're going to clog your arteries. Your heart's not going to be successful. There was all sorts of stuff in the book, okay? The Dr. Atkins book. But cutting out those low carbs, cutting out the dominant amount of all the carbs is causing people to lose weight, but medical community is saying, no, this is dangerous. It's not sustainable, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Fast forward, how many years? And now low carb is being suggested by some in the medical community. Okay? Although, listen, in the manifestation world, you all know I am someone that believes we don't need to be limited by diets. We don't have to be limited by 3D ideas around weight loss, but this video isn't about weight loss. I'm just saying they changed their mind. What never changes? On this side of the house, the FDA, the medical community, the science community, and of course, I'm saying this with some level of, come on here, sarcasm. She couldn't care less, clearly, with the snoring. The thing we know, the dominant or the common denominator in the 3D world is it changes. Their minds change. Some in defense would say, well, yeah, that's because, science isn't saying everything that they propose is fact. It's just the answer they've come up with, a million times. So we're going to rule that as the more likely outcome. I don't care about the definitions. This is an example. So settle down, Beavis. Okay. But what we've learned is they changed their mind a lot. Another favorite example is the government denying aliens and alien encounters or space UFO shit. denying, not possible, that's silliness. Let's, say it's a special weather balloon. Let's give it all these excuses. All these decades later, yes, they're real. It's real. Now they're accepting it. They're allowing it. Now, listen, I'm not trying to take us into a conspiracy theory video. I'm just saying, do you see what's the common denominator with 3D things that we tend to trust at 100% as facts and what they say is golden? The common denominator is they change their minds. They change their minds a lot. People defy the odds. Let's look at, cancers. We hear that word, and for most of us, there's that conditioning that's the deadly word. You hear that phrase, and you have this and this, cancer. That sentence is terrifying to probably most of the human race because of the examples of seeing a lot of people pass from it, okay? But there have also been people that defy that odd. They defy it, okay? So it can change. So what's the constant out here in 3D conditioning? It changes. It changes a lot. They change their minds out here a lot. But how it's presented to us as humans is if someone says it in the medical community or in the sciencey community, then they know better. Their word should be trusted. They know better. What's the common denominator in manifestation? How to manifest. The basics. I'm not saying the techniques. How to manifest. Change who you believe you are. The law of the universe, the law of God. Ask, believe, receive. It doesn't change. It's a constant. If you change your mind, your reality will change. That doesn't change. That's been the overall message in the manifestation community since long before either one of us have been alive on this planet. People over the centuries have been delivering this message in their own way of wording. They got their own delivery. But the base of it is change your mind, change your life. It's been the same message for centuries. It never changes. Never changes. But the 3D does. And again, this is not me as a whole telling you to fuck doctors, fuck scientists. I'm not saying, I'm hoping you're going to use some discretion. Use your mind. I ain't a doctor, right? I don't claim to be. I ain't giving you medical advice. However, it's a conscious choice to be limited by 3D conditioning. And remember, everything you believe, everything you know to be true is a condition. You learned it from conditioning. Even the color purple is from conditioning. You were told that that shade of color is purple. It's a belief. It's conditioned belief. Maybe you see a different color for purple that I see. Who knows? We'll never know. But that's my point. Everything you know is from conditioning. Everything in the 3D is conditioning. Everything. What you believe about love, how relationships should look is based off conditioning. You've seen it in a movie. You saw it in your caregivers growing up, whether that was your parents or somebody else raising you. You learned from others what love is and what it should look like. It's from conditioning. This never changes. It never changes. It's the same results if you authentically apply it. This works. This doesn't change. Techniques might change. Opinions on how to manifest might change. But the overall message, ask, believe, receive. The message from God or universe, whatever you believe in, never changes. It's always constant. But most of us look out here for answers in the 3D, and we believe what we see out here. And unless what you're believing out here is somehow beneficial to your manifestation, why are we believing out here when we know it changes? That's the common denominator. This changes. This never changes. Manifestation. Bottom line. Basement. Ask, believe, receive. Ask for what you want. I didn't say beg for what you want. I said ask, as in, this is what I want. Believe you have it. 3D will give it to you. Stop looking out here. Stop saying it doesn't work. Stop spending 90% of your time in your old story, in the inner chatter. The inner chatter of you don't have what you want yet. And things will change. Stop judging the 3D. Stop looking at it and saying, hey, SP didn't call me on Saturday, so this must mean it's not working, because if he really loved me, he would have called on Saturday. If he really was interested in me, he would have called on Saturday. No, that's you judging. That's you judging. And poop doesn't like it when you judge the 3D. So, on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.